2023, I had an article published about Bessie Head's novel, A Question of Power, in Muses, the arts blog of the British Journal of Psychiatry. This piece had been commissioned by a friend of mine, UK-based psychiatrist and editor of Muses, Dr. Dami Ajayi. Dr. Ajayi had challenged me upon publication of my work to reflect on why I resonate so deeply with the work of Bessie Head. In response to that question, I recalled my history. My introduction to Bessie Head's work was in primary school when I would read my older sister's high school novels without her knowledge. I had to retrace my steps and find out who this woman was and why I was so fascinated with her and her work. Bessie Head was born in Pietermaritzburg, South Africa, and did not know her parents. Her mother, a white woman from an upper-class family, had had a relationship with a black man. As a result of that, she had fallen pregnant, was then classified insane, and then committed to a psychiatric institution where she later died. In my reflection of what had happened to Bessie Head's mother, I was working on a project for my health humanities qualification and writing health-related news stories, writing poems responding to health-related news stories in South African publications. And so I reflected not only on what happened to Bessie Head's mother, but also the way in which we treat patients in psychiatric institutions in South Africa. This poem was a result of that interrogation. Regression. Step 1. When she steals her caregiver's ring and pawns it for a fix, you must say, "This is not how a testimonial is supposed to read for an outpatient, and her disinhibition and inappropriate smiling are not good signs. Let's book her in for observation." Step 2. When she threatens her mother, you must say, "This is not how family feedback is supposed to read for an inpatient getting weekend leave, and her disinhibition and inappropriate smiling are not good signs. Let's take away her privileges, put her in Ward 6. Step 3. When she stabs a nurse, you must say, "This is not how a progress report is supposed to read for a patient wanting to remain in an open ward, and her disinhibition and inappropriate smiling are not good signs. Let's move her to a closed ward." Step 4. When she develops insomnia and anxiety, you must say, "This is why we have drugs. Serenades is to serenade her to sleep at night. Disipal is to make her worries disappear during the day." Step 5, when a colleague asks you, "And the teeth grinding, the pill rolling tremor, the tears?" you must say, "Let's resort to clozapine or refer her for counseling. Besides, the prophets said that there would be weeping and gnashing of teeth, but not like this. Not like this." In the novels When Rain Clouds Gather and Maru, Bessie Head situates us in the villages of Golemamidi and Dilepe, one which means to grow maize and the other means axes. The semantics of these allude to a life of one accustomed to hard labor, tilling land and chopping wood. The male protagonists in these two novels, Makaya and Maru respectively, are both men on the run. Makaya, a South African man seeking asylum as a political refugee in Botswana, and Maru, a chief-to-be who is adamantly refusing to take up his chieftaincy. The men's pursuit of love as softness and liberation in the harsh and hard places that their villages are portrayed as humanizes them beyond the caricatures of hard-working village men and presents to us the idea of companionship as a tool to emotionally liberate them from the oppressions of the physical world. In contrast, the women protagonists in When Rain Clouds Gather, Paulina Sibeso and Ma Millipede, and in Maru, Margaret Cadmore and Dikeledi, are shown as figures of independence, rebelling against the status quo, challenging societal norms, and defying traditional expectations associated with village life for women. In both novels, Bessie Head juxtaposes the desolation of the environment against the rich complexity of the characters' psyches, with these women seeking to assert themselves against sexism and classism. So this paper, alongside the one that I wrote in response to a question of power, through a close reading of the source texts, namely When Rain Clouds Gather and Maru, seeks to present the idea that love and independence are opposing and contradictory concepts of liberation for men and women, respectively. In chapter 6 of When Rain Clouds Gather, Makaya, the male protagonist, in a conversation with the old man Dinorejo, says, "Most men want to achieve great victories, but I am only looking for a woman." In an article titled Traumatic Divisions, the Collective and Interpersonal in Bessie Head's When Rain Clouds Gather, Makaya is pitched as a good man. In Sarah Ogude's article, Protest and Commitment in Bessie Head's Utopia, Makaya's arrival in the village of Holemamidi represents the imminent destruction of the ruling class by visionaries. And these visionaries would be Gilbert, as well as Makaya, who we have spoken about. Maru, on the other hand, prioritizes his internal convictions over societal expectations, leading him to marry a Masarwa woman, a decision that leads to him renouncing his chieftaincy. Similarly to a previous speaker, I will end where I began, with a poem. In May of 2024, I had a poem published titled Self-Portrait in Utopia. It was published in a special edition of English in Africa, which was dedicated to Bessie Head. So 2023 would have been Bessie Head's 85th birthday. And this poem was responding to the utopia that Head would have imagined for herself and for her women characters. Self-portrait in Utopia. Not quite Aphrodite or Liverhexie, neither porcelain deity nor forgetful witch, not Adam's rib, small, clean, white, as seen in the dissection hall as out-of-body specimen. Instead, a myth, a revolt, a riot on legs, a hymn hummed slowly, a woman howling at all 14 moons on Neptune, a woman swallowing the earth in June, ending the year midway, a woman birthing the planet anew. A woman last seen at the pool of Bethesda, tempting the water to drink her. And why wouldn't it? A woman that neither coven nor convent could convert. A woman that neither judge nor jury could convict. A bad woman, neither sinful nor holy, but a law wholly unto herself. Thank you.